Welcome to the Veterinary Rehabilitation Podcast, where we aim to help fellow veterinary rehab therapists increase their knowledge and elevate their practice. I'm Megan Kelly.
And I'm Anae Lloyd. Together, we bring you the latest insights, research, and information in the field of veterinary rehabilitation.
This podcast is brought to you by Onlinepethealth, a leading continuing education membership for veterinary rehabilitation therapists. With Onlinepethealth, you'll have access to a wide range of online resources to help you stay up to date with the latest techniques, advances, and trends in the industry.
Our podcast features in-depth conversations with leading experts in veterinary rehabilitation. They share their own experiences and knowledge to help you improve your practice. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out in the field, our goal is to provide you with the tools and the insights you need to succeed.
So join us as we explore the exciting world of veterinary rehabilitation and help you take your practice to the next level. Hey veterinary rehabbers, today's podcast features a special recording from our business basics area within the Onlinepethealth membership. Now these are 20 to 40 minute trainings and they cover everything you need to start and grow a successful vet rehab practice. From social media strategies and marketing to managing staff and handling client relationships. We really aim to equip you with the skills to not only be an outstanding vet rehabber, but also to build a thriving practice. So in this episode, we're joined by Amy Newfield, who dives into the reasons why clients can be demanding. She discusses how we might inadvertently contribute to the issue, and most importantly, she shares actionable strategies for handling situations when clients become highly upset or demanding. Now, one of our most popular resources is 20 free ways to market your vet rehab practice. This guide is perfect for anyone with an established vet rehab practice, but it's also incredibly valuable for those just starting out with a limited marketing budget. You can get it by going to onlinepethealth.com/free ways. Before we listen to the training from Amy, a quick word from our sponsors. Nada first developed her courses at the Colorado State University, where she started the Medical Acupuncture for Veterinarian Certificate program in 1998. In so doing, Dr. Robinson developed a science-based platform for veterinary acupuncture, the first of its kind. Today, Curacao Vet offers a comprehensive curriculum in integrative medicine with a rational, evidence-supported foundation. Courses include medical acupuncture, photomedicine, botanical medicine, medical massage, and integrative rehabilitation. Discover Curacao Vet at curacao.org. Okay, let's go over to Amy.
Hello, and welcome to Dealing with Demanding Clients. My name is Amy Newfield. I'm a VTS in Emergency Critical Care, and I have a master's in Management and Leadership. I'm the owner of Veterinary Team Training, so please go ahead. If you ever have any questions, email me at vetteamtraining@gmail.com. So let's go ahead and get started with dealing with demanding clients, because I think in veterinary medicine, a lot of us went into this industry because we love animals just a little bit more than we like people. We resonate with them, we understand them, we empathize with them. And then there's a client side of things. And honestly, there's a lot of stress that goes aside with that. Part of the reason being is because of health insurance. If all of the pets came in that were on health insurance, or pet insurance, I should say, then we probably would have way less stress, because there's only two reasons why clients are demanding. And we're going to talk about those reasons. But let's talk about ways that we can handle these demanding clients and kind of learn to a little bit let go of some things. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So are clients more demanding than ever? Some of you are saying, yes, I've been in this industry for 20, 30 years. I personally have been in this industry for 26 years. And anecdotally, I would say, yes, clients are more demanding than ever. And so us dinosaurs agree, clients are more demanding than ever. And there's kind of a good reason for that. So when I started off in the 1990s, we didn't really have good flea and tick control. And you're like, Amy, where are you going with this? Bear with me. There's a good story here. So around the later half of the 1990s, a product came out that happened to be a topical flea product. This was amazing because when we control parasites, then we have the ability to bring our pets wherever we want, including in our cars, in our beds, on our sofas, on vacations. Growing up, I was a child of the 1970s and 80s. I had a dog named Molly. I actually attribute a lot to me moving into veterinary medicine thanks to Molly. She was one of my best friends, which sounds strange, but when you're a little kid, it's okay to have a best friend being a dog. The thing about Molly is that she would get fleas and ticks and a lot of them. And growing up here in the United States, one of the only options that we had were to take Molly to the local fire station where they had flea dips. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about because this was a worldwide thing that was done. Molly would go, they would dip her in a pyrethrin-based substance and then send her home to us. And my parents would say, don't touch Molly until tomorrow, she needs to dry. Well, it turns out we were dipping her in a toxic solution, and yeah, some dogs had seizures, coma, and died from that, but we didn't know what else to do. There was also white powder, and we would sprinkle the white powder all over Molly, and she would leave a freaking mess everywhere. My parents would get angry. So this is a very big thing that in the 1990s, we started putting topical flea products on animals. And now we start looking at the specializing of animals. As soon as we're able to bring animals more into our lives, simply because of parasite control, guess what happens? We want nothing but the best. These are our kids. They're not just pets anymore. They're our fur kids, right? We have specialists like rehab, obviously, but we also have dentistry, oncology, emergency, surgery, you name it, we can do it in animals, which is great. But as such, clients are demanding and they want things right then and now. So besides being able to control fleas and ticks, the other thing that makes them more demanding, internet and just technology. Everything happens at lightning speed. You know this to be true because when someone sends you an email, especially if they're on the phone with you and they say, did you receive it yet? You're like, no, not yet. No, not yet. No, not yet. No, not yet. We're all very demanding. So clients are more demanding because we are more demanding than ever. My span for patience is at an all-time low. I have to sometimes remember that I have to relax, breathe a little bit more, and remember how life was before the internet. Some of you have no idea what I'm talking about because you were born into the internet. You were born into technology. Good for you. But for those of you who were not born into technology, you're like, there was something to be said. Yes, there was not as many things readily available at our fingertips. We had to drive holding paper maps in our cars. If we got lost, we were in deep trouble. We sometimes had to, go up to a house and knock on a door and ask them to dial a phone. We all know this motion here, or it got fancier when we started doing this with the phone, right? Beep, beep, beep. So technology is really great, but as such, it's made us all very impatient and we want things now. So we have to realize that some of us who are watching this have added to creating a monster known as the demanding client. That is very much a thing that we have done in veterinary medicine. We've not learned from human medicine. Case in point, when you go in for your own doctor and they say, oh, we're going to run some blood work, do you get the results in 10 or 15 minutes? Nope, you don't. They send you home. And then at least here in the United States, it's very popular that we all have health portals. And I'll log into my health portal and say, oh, your blood work results are up. I look and interpret my own blood work based on the fact that I know nothing about human medicine. All my knowledge is in veterinary medicine. But here I am. Here's Amy interpreting how's my cholesterol doing, what's going on with this test, and figuring it out. And it's going to be days later before my doctor even calls, if she decides to call. So that is the reality of human medicine, is that you don't sit and wait for results. You don't get things right then and there. And especially when it comes to rehab or other, specialty products. I have a surgeon who I love her dearly, but she needs to slow down. She's older than me. And what happens is sometimes in the emergency hospital, we will go ahead and get an animal in that's clearly torn its cruciate. She will literally walk out to the waiting area and say to the owners, hey, when did your dog eat last? Okay. Yeah, I think we can get him into surgery today. Say what? We've not learned from human medicine and we've never said no. Our empathy and our kindness is constantly going, yeah, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it, we can do it. And we don't set limitations. So my challenge to all of you is making sure you have good systems and processes in your hospitals, making sure that in your facilities, you create boundaries for your clients and that you're not giving away everything to them all the time. If someone wants to cancel on you because, they couldn't make their rehab appointment, I understand that it's important for them to make the rehab appointment. But if then they demand the very next day they have to come in, no, that's not how this works. We're not going to inconvenience ourselves and our staff because you needed to cancel or you didn't show up or you forgot or whatever it is, right? So we give so much of ourselves, we have to remember we can't give it all. So unfortunately, we need to set boundaries. We need to set expectations for your clients upfront. Be fair to them and your team. You know, a lot of times we think about the pet first, pet first, pet first. Client wants to have them come in. They absolutely want them to come in for this, rehab thing, whatever it is. And you're like, okay, you're right. I got to get them in as soon as possible. I can see we're booked. Okay, well, we'll just stay late a little bit. Is that okay and fair to the rest of your staff? So what processes can you improve also? I have one for general practice, but you can always use the no news is good news for routine blood work, especially for senior animals. There's a lot of senior screening that takes place. And we can just simply say, we're going to draw the blood today, and we're only going to call you if there's an issue. So no news is good news. It's that simple. Or just have the front desk call up and say everything within normal limits. We don't need a veterinarian or even a veterinary technician or nurse to go ahead and call that client. So no blood work results in 1 to 2 days unless there's issues. We're just not going to call you. I mean, my doctor doesn't call me. She never calls me. Sometimes I get a letter in the mail, like an actual paper letter, and it says your blood work results are within normal limits. I guess that's another way of doing it. But we do need to set boundaries. This is really important. So why are clients difficult? Well, it's for these two reasons: money or a perceived level of care. There's a perceived level of care that they're not happy with, and unfortunately, you've done them wrong. So let's dive into some of the clients that we might see in our hospitals. I want it all. Oh, yes. Breathe deeply, people. They demand everything all the time. Okay. Nothing's good enough. They usually spend a lot of money. They have had, 5 dogs. They've all torn their cruciates. They're all getting rehab from you. It happens to be a breeder of dachshunds, right? Great. Awesome. Fantastic. We are doing hydrotherapy. We are doing laser. We're doing it all. They spend a lot of money. They feel very entitled, and they feel like they deserve some extra perks in service because it is their 25th dachshund that they're bringing it to you. And by the way, they referred a lot of people to you. So they recognize the value of their hospital as so long as their needs are met. And they have a very direct tone of voice and they sound aggressive. For me, when I was working general practice, it was a breeder of Cavalier King Charles Spaniels. Always a crisis. This woman had 10 cavies, and they were just always having issues. Shocker, right? Like, what? A Cavalier King Charles Spaniel having an issue? No way, Amy. So yeah, they were always having issues, and she would call up, and this is literally things that she would say to the house. Hi, Susie, it's Ben. I'm gonna need Dr. Kelly to see Mr. Nutter better first thing in the morning. Like, just I want it off. This is what I want, and this is how it's gonna happen. How do we need to manage these clients? You need to draw the line. The problem is these clients, if you give them a little bit, they're very appreciative, but they're going to take it and they're going to expect it again tenfold. And that's really hard. So if we're not being fair to our team or ourselves, and we're letting this client into our boundaries, we have to start setting those boundaries. This is really important. Appeal to the client's sense of love and dedication to the pet. They want it all because they love their pet. It's that simple. But when they don't get it, they sometimes act out of control. So you can say things like, I know you love your pet, but we can't see you first thing this morning. We'll do our best to squeeze you in during X, Y, and Z. And the reality is they might be super angry. They might try to strong arm you. Stick to your boundaries. Stick to your boundaries. The minute you let them in or the minute you cave, they're going to be like, oh, what do I need to do next time? Just bully them more? Yeah, because a lot of clients are very similar in how other animals learn. If we allow them to bully us and be mean and say negative things and we cave, what does that teach that client? Yeah, next time I'm just going to be a jerk and they're going to let me in. Yeah, so don't do that. Assume good intention with these clients. Too often they're seen as burdens because they are so demanding. But there's a difference between a burden and argumentative. Now, if they're argumentative, that's very different. We'll talk about argumentative clients. Usually they respond well to being honest and direct, and it invokes a sense of trust. Just keep reinforcing the boundaries. Especially if your appointment time is going over. Oh gosh, I see this all the time, especially in rehab facilities. They just blah, 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 blah. And you're like, you see the next client. But this particular client comes every week or twice a week or 10 times a week, whatever it is, and they get a lot of services from you. And now they're pulling out pictures of their grandkids, their kids, they've baked you goods and all those things. So they feel like they can take up more of your time. Stick to your boundaries, people. Our appointment times only allow for 30 minutes, and I can't keep talking to you because we're cutting into the next client's time, and I want to be fair to everyone. That's really important. Hard to do, but very important. You're in it for the money, client. Oh, this one's hard, right? Especially when we're dealing with specialty services because they are expensive. Most of the time, these clients are struggling with money, but not all. Some of them just honestly don't want to spend it. You don't love animals, you just work here for the money, or you know me, you know I'm good for it. I brought my dog last year here and you did all these services, and so why do you have to charge me now for it? Or your prices went up? Are you serious? Well, I hope that's not your Mercedes out in the parking lot. No, that's a client's Mercedes. I'm driving the absolutely worst, beat up Subaru in the parking lot. That's what I'm driving. It's from the 1980s, really. So how do we manage your in it for the money? Have compassion with this client. A lot of times they're arguing with you because they're placing the blame on something they can't afford, and they're placing it on you because after all, you're the jerk. You set the prices. Arguing because they love their pet and they can't afford care. That's exactly what they're doing, right? Just stick to your guns. Every one of us here who works here loves pets. True statement. I know you want what's best for your fur kids. So let's talk about this because obviously we would love for them to do, laser or hydrotherapy or whatever it is. But I understand you have money concerns. So let's talk about what that looks like because we want to get Fido or Fluffy or Fifi, whoever it is. I don't ever know why, by the way. It's always F names that roll off my tongue really quickly. But anyway, whoever it is, we want to get them back on their feet and, running and jumping and being their normal selves to the best of our ability. For those that have funds, but they refuse to help their pets, they just are jerks. These are the people who say, yeah, I know you want me to come twice a week, but at this price, I have the money, but it's just, this is a dog, right? Like my kids wanted this dog and then it hurt itself and now you're asking me to pay for that. So those people, they hurt my soul way more than the people who are just argumentative because they don't have money, even though they won't tell you that they won't have money. The people who have money, they're going to tell you they have money. They're going to talk about how they have money and they don't care. They just don't want to pay for it. So they've chosen to keep their money rather than care for their pet. And on a veterinary level, that's the stuff that rips our souls out, right? I'm sorry you view the medical care as expensive. At this point, we've offered several ways you can help your pet and you just keep coming back to cost. And there's really nothing else I can do to make it cheaper. So let me know if you decide anything. For these clients, there isn't anything else you to do. These are the ones that you lose sleep over because they upset you. One thing I want you to really get more comfortable with is don't apologize for your prices, okay? Please don't apologize for your pricing. Don't change your pricing either. The minute you take away some of your services, say, oh, I'll give you a discount. The client now has learned that very bad behavior, which is if I argue with you, then you are going to go ahead and either get me in to see an appointment or go ahead and change prices. This is that learned behavior, much like we were just talking about it for, the I want it all client. The same learned behavior happens here. If they complain about your pricing and say, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 I come here, I should get one for free, right? I do this twice a month. I should at least get one a month for free, and I'm struggling to pay or whatever it is. And you go, yeah, you're right. You should get one for free. What have they learned? And what will they tell their friends and family? You're going to devalue your services simply because someone is yelling at you about their financial issue. Value the work at your hospital. This is really important. None of us are that wealthy. Even if you are owning your own hospital, your own service, the reality is you're not rolling in the dough. You're not, certainly, especially if you're a vet nurse or a vet tech or a front desk person, you should not apologize for the pricing. Ensure you've done your part to provide estimates, including even if there's emergency ones, to your clients. So you don't do like this shock and awe bill to them. But if you've done your due diligence, if you've explained the pricing, if you have things that we can offer to help offset it, and at least here in the United States, we have things like care credit, other services similar to that. There are some hospitals that come up with their own financial payment plans, and those honestly can be just nightmares to manage. Certainly, there's also Good Samaritan funds and things like that. Whatever there is to help those clients out, if you've gone through that gamut, you need to stick with it. Stop devaluing your services, and especially if you're not the owner of a hospital or of a service, you sometimes look at the pricing and go, this is outrageous. I feel like I should be able to give stuff away for free. Don't do it, people. Don't do it. All right. These are the worst clients, the exploding bully clients. These are the scariest and worst clients ever. If you're in this industry long enough, at some point, you will have an exploding bully who just randomly starts screaming at you. They're very quick to anger and even faster to become aggressive and threatening. They're impatient, they're arrogant, they're verbally and sometimes physically abusive. They put everyone's needs, their needs above everyone else's. And so no matter what you do, this client is verbally assaulting you. They are literally screaming at you. And they're saying, you did this, you did that. Again, perceived level of care that they feel like you should have done better, right? It's never that you did great, because there's always something you should have done better, or it's money. Those are the only two reasons clients are yelling at you. So no matter what you're trying to do at this point, it's not going to be good enough. Just stop trying. When we have people arguing with us, immediately, a lot of times in our brains, we want to defend ourselves. This place is terrible. I'm going to sue you. You made my dog's leg worse. You made him blind in one eye. No, he's a pug. He's a pug. He had a massive corneal ulcer when he showed up here, and his eye, you didn't take him to the doctors after. It has nothing to do with the rehab. It has nothing to do with the rehab. But whatever it is, again, this client is screaming at you. All other clients that you're dealing with, for I want it all, for you're in it for the money, no matter what that client is experiencing, they could start screaming at you if we don't handle them properly. The reality is in this year, in 2024, or even if you're listening to this after it's 2025 or 2026, you might need to call the police. Your only focus when someone is yelling at you, if they are verbally screaming at you, is to protect yourself. There's nothing else you need to do. You do not need to try to make them understand your side. You do not need to try to get them to not sue you. You just have to protect yourself. So this is really important when we're dealing with clients, to just relax and recognize this person's out of control. Amy said, I don't need to try to prove that I'm right or wrong. Amy said, de-escalation is the only thing I need to do, and to protect myself. So how do we need to do this? I want you to be Yoda. Very hard to do when someone's verbally screaming at you, right? Your role is to de-escalate the situation so it prevents it from worsening. I want you to remain calm, and I want you to remain polite, okay? If possible, move them into a private area so they can blow off some steam without upsetting everyone else. But here's the thing. If that exploding bully plants their feet and they say, I'm refusing to move, let's just say they're out in the waiting area and they're blaming their pug's enucleation on your hydrotherapy, right? Let's just say that has happened. Even though, again, the pug had a corneal ulcer, you happened to identify it while they were there, they refused to go get treatment, his eye ruptured, now he's a one-eyed pug, right? Shocker. What, a one-eyed pug? No way. All right, so the client is screaming at you and they do not want to leave your facility. So you say, hey, do you mind coming into this room with me? I'd really love to have a conversation that's a little bit more private. If they yell back at you and say, no, I'm going to talk to you right here, I'm not moving, the answer is they're not moving. Why are we going to fight them over where they're moving? Everything that you want to say, you can say in front of other clients. So if they refuse to move, you're going to keep them wherever they want to be. Don't be intimidated. This is really important. Now, this is going to sound really sad, but you've been in vet med way too long. When the first time I ever got yelled at by a client, I was terrified. I was absolutely terrified. I didn't know what to do. Here was a client out of control. I was just apologizing. I was trying to make it right. I was trying to teach them how we weren't wrong and they were right, how we were right and they were wrong. I was trying to do all the things that you shouldn't do. Now at this point, I realize, 26 years in this field, just breathe intentionally, recognize this is my mantra. This is what I always say. I am okay. I am okay. This person's out of control, but I am okay. I got me. I'm fine. Breathe, Amy. Look at them. Try not to be intimidated and know your truth. Tell yourself things that are going to help you rather than think about the next thing you're going to say or how you want to go ahead and show them that you're right. Don't do any of that. They want to intimidate you, and that's hard to do. And some of that comes with just time. It doesn't matter who's right or wrong. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. It really doesn't. I want you to save your energy. I want you to focus on reducing the threat. I want you to apologize that you are upset or they are upset. You are sorry they're upset, for sure. You are definitely. So you're allowed to say, I'm so sorry that you're so upset. That's very real. I'm very sorry you're upset. Like, you feel like saying, I'm so sorry you're upset, because Lord knows it would be a lot easier if you were not, right? But don't say that second part. You can say things like, I am sorry you're so upset. I want to help you and your pet, but I can't right now because I'm focused on you yelling at me. That statement right there is really good for just day-to-day life. I want you to sear that into your brain. You can use that on anyone who's screaming at you. I'm sorry you're so upset. I'm sorry you're so upset with me. I really do want to help you, or I want to have a conversation, but I can't right now because I'm focused on you yelling at me. Do not take physical threats lightly. I want you to end the conversation immediately. If they threaten you or your staff or the hospital at all, I'm sorry you're so upset, but I'm not going to continue this conversation with you when you are threatening physical violence on the hospital team, myself, whatever it is. I want you to immediately just say, I'm going to excuse myself for a moment. And in that moment, you're going to call the police. Yes, you are going to call the police. I know that I live in the United States and we have record-setting gun violence, which you all have heard about. It is more common to obviously have clients that are not going to take it to that level, but it's terrible if you're wrong about that. So just assume that everybody, unfortunately, is out to really, really hurt you, and call the police. If they've threatened you, you're done. Go call the police. Physical threats are never to be taken lightly. Now, if I'm sure you understand, again, there's only two reasons why the client's upset: money or a perceived level of care. Okay, whatever that is, get to what the bully wants by repeating it back, and confirm that you want to help do so, but you can't at this time. So you're screaming at me, and while I want to help you, I can't because your focus is screaming at me. I want you to stop the conversation. If you have repeated back to you, I understand you're upset because you believe that your pug is now one-eyed because we did something here. While you're screaming at me, I want to help you, but I can't because your focus is screaming at me. And then I want you to just end conversation. If you've already confirmed they keep yelling at you, they're now taking it to a level where it's near threatening you. At this point, I've confirmed why you're upset. And I've offered to help, and I want to help you, but you just keep screaming. And this isn't productive for either one of us. So I'm going to end the conversation so we can both cool down. We both cool down. Don't ever tell them to cool down. I'd like to think about what you just said, and I want to get back to you tomorrow or in a few days. I'll give you a call, or I'll go ahead and send you an email after I have time to process the conversation. I want you to stay away from these phrases with really angry people. Again, sear these into your memory. Don't take it personally. No, don't be sad, mad, or angry. No offense, but, right? Don't get emotional, always or never. That's stupid or ridiculous. Everyone thinks I or you don't care. Last week, month, year, you said or did. Stay away from the word you. Just take it out of your vocabulary, but not limited to you are you are making this, here you go again. You need to calm down, you are exaggerating. And remember that no one has the right to berate, belittle, antagonize, or even threaten your hospital team. And so when you're dealing with an exploding bully, you have to stand up to them and know that their behavior is intolerable and also unproductive. And I want you to be polite and firm. So here's my takeaways for this. I hope that this has helped you. First and foremost, know your truth. You cannot please everyone. When you are dealing with a client who's threatening you or yelling at you or saying you're money grubbing or making you upset in any sort of way, I want you to learn to breathe. Intentional breath. Anyone on planet Earth will tell you there's a lot of data and science on intentional breaths. So making sure you have intentional breaths. Making sure that you breathe a little bit better, making sure that after the traumatic situation, you take care of yourself. Too often, especially if you're the front desk, you pick up the phone, say, Happy Paws Rehab Center. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. No, you're angry. Okay. Oh, you're suing us. Okay. Well, the manager's not in. No, I understand you are going to sue us. Okay. Yeah. You're going to sue us for $1 million. Okay. I will let the manager know that. Oh, that is some language. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. I will let the manager know. They will be in touch. Bye. As soon as they have the end of that horrific call where someone is yelling at them on the phone, threatening to sue them, whatever it is, even if they're front desk, what does that person do? The phone rings again. Happy Paws Rehab Center. How can I help you? Like nothing happened. I want you to take the moment to decompress, stop the shakes, right? Stop the shake, stop the blood pressure, go for a walk, relax. You have two people that live inside of your head. One is guilt and a liar, guilty liar. And the second one is your best friend. I want you to talk to your best friend inside your head. Is there anything we could have done differently? No. Was that client out of control? Yes. Was it my fault? No. That client didn't have any money. This isn't my fault, right? Set boundaries with your clients. Make sure your hospital has good, solid processes in place and that you stick to them. The minute one veterinarian starts to go ahead and move away from those boundaries, well, then other clients will say, yeah, but Dr. Smith allows me to do X, Y, and Z. Why won't you? Right? So now we have clients taking advantage of it, becoming more demanding. Stick to your integrity and believe in your knowledge. Protect yourself and your team. And remember that you can only control their response. You cannot control, their response, only yours. So make sure that at the end of any traumatic client interaction, you breathe, go for a walk, relax. It's okay to say to the team, I need 5. I want you to just breathe deeply, okay? I hope this helps you. If you have any questions, please email me. My website is up there as well. Thank you for everything that you do. This is one of my 2 tripod cats. Fun joke. If you have 2 tripod cats, it's only 1.5 cats. I know, funny. I hear you laughing inside my head right now. Anyway, if you ever have any questions, please reach out to me. There's my email address. And thank you again for everything that you do.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time I load a new podcast. I'm here every week talking to vet rehab therapists from all over the world about all things vet rehab. A big thanks to our sponsor, Curacao Vet. Their sponsorship allows us to be able to give this podcast to you for free, so please go and check them out at curacao.org. Please also don't forget to bookmark the next Vet Rehab Summit. It's on Saturday the 8th of November in 2025. Come and be a part of the world's largest online veterinary rehabilitation conference created specifically for you, the vet rehabber community. Online Pet Health members, you get VIP complimentary access to the Vet Rehab Summit. For more information about continuing education for vet rehabbers, you can go to onlinepethealth.com.